Okay, assignment number 3, a pretty straightforward one. AO Repo opened the assessment proceedings of Miss Moshmi under section 147. The AO had already concluded assessment under section 143. Please, anyone, please tell me what is section 143? Which assessment does it refer to? Section 143. Which assessment are we talking about?
Sir, scrutiny assessment.
Absolutely. And 147, Moshmi, what is 147?
Sir, reassessment.
Perfect. Reassessment and scrutiny assessment. So while this reassessment was being carried on, the AO did not issue notice under section 143.2. What is section 143.2? 143.2 is the section in which the scrutiny assessments notice is issued, is delivered. So now the question arises that, sir, 143 notice is relevant for scrutiny assessment, and 148 section notice is relevant for reassessment. Then, sir, why should AO issue a scrutiny assessment notice during reassessment? Why should he do that? Why should 143 notice be issued while you are doing 148 reassessment? Why this mix and match? Why this confusion? I'll tell you why this confusion. First, let me tell you whether a 143 2 notice is to be issued while doing a reassessment, because 143 is section for scrutiny assessment, not for reassessment. Then the AO is saying that I will issue section 148 notice for 147 reassessment. Okay, I will not issue 143 2 notice for reassessment. So is AO correct in this particular contention of his? Answer is Indus Stars Limited, Delhi High Court, and there are several other case laws which are equivocally saying the same thing, that even if reassessment proceedings are there, notice under section 143.2 is to be mandatorily issued. Yes, 148 notice is to be issued for sure. 148 is the notice which is issued for reassessment, that is to be issued, but along with that 143.2 notice is also to be issued. Now your question to me, sir, why are we forcing to issue notice of scrutiny assessment during reassessment? Why are we doing that? Any answers? So everyone has written yes, the notice should be issued, and everyone has quoted the case law also, but anyone could tell the answer why? What is the logic? Why 143 notice is to be issued during reassessment proceedings as well? Reassessment is 147, scrutiny is 143. So in scrutiny assessment, it makes sense that 143 2 notice is issued. But what is the logic behind issuing 143 during reassessment? Anyone? Logic. I want the logic. I know all of you know the answer. All of you know. I want the logic. What is the logic behind it? Anyone? Yes, Moshmi.
Sir, as before, while doing the scrutiny assessment, the notice was not issued, but assessment was already done.
No, Moshmi. Without a notice, scrutiny assessment, it is not possible that scrutiny assessment would have concluded. So 143 notice has been issued during scrutiny assessment. Assume this. It has been issued during scrutiny assessment, the normal assessment. But during reassessment, 143.2 has not been issued again. That is the question. Yes, Yogesh, you were saying something. Yogesh.
Sir, if the assessing officer got any evidence or
reasons to believe
to believe that the assessee didn't show his full income, that should be the reason, sir.
No, but why is that reason for issuing notice under 143.2? Assessee should have issued notice under 148. 148 requires the assessee to furnish details if reassessment proceedings are there. Why are we harping upon 143.2 notice? That is the question. Yes, Subhakrishna, any answers?
Sir, I think the reason to believe will be explained in the show cause notice, and under section 143, yeah, the scrutiny assessment.
Yes.
If it is done, I think there is some benefit which I am not able to make out. But the reason is, yeah, that the assessing officer will be mentioning or explaining the details as to what is the reason why he is going to do the assessment, scrutiny assessment.
But that reason he can very well explain through 148 notice as well. That reason he can explain through 148 notice as well. Why does he want 143 notice? Because 148 notice is also there, which is there for reassessment. Okay, so I'll give you the logic. I am on income tax website. I am opening the act and I'll be referring to the section which we are referring to, and after reading the section we will be able to understand what is the logic behind this particular requirement of issuing 143(2) notice. All right. So this is section of income escaping assessment. I hope you must have already read through this particular section, section 147. If any income chargeable to tax in case of the assessee has escaped assessment for any assessment year, the assessing officer may subject to provisions of section 148 to 153 assess or reassess such income. Now section 148 is to be mandatorily followed, because this section is referring to section 148. Now let us go to section 148. This is section 148. Section says that before making any assessment, reassessment, recomputation, under section 147 is reassessment section, and 148 section is referring to 147, and it says before making any assessment, reassessment or recomputation under 147 and subject to 148, the AO shall serve on the assessee a notice along with a copy of order if required under clause D of section whatever, requiring the assessee to furnish within such period as may be specified in the notice a return of income or income of any other person in respect of which he is assessable. Now please pause over here. The fight is between notice under 148 and notice under 143(2). We are saying for reassessment only 148 notice is sufficient. No need to issue 143(2) notice. Logically, the section 147 refers to 148. So your argument may be right that 148 is enough for initiating 147 reassessment. But the requirement which is imposed by section 148 is that mandatorily a return of income is required to be furnished. And please read the last lines. Last line says, and the provision of this act so far as may apply accordingly as if such return were a return required to be furnished under section 139. So now what is happening is 148 is requiring you to file a return under section 139, and 148 will assume that whatever return you file under 139, it belongs to the original 139 section. That return will be superseded, and this return will supersede that original return. So 139 again comes into play by virtue of section 148. Now you will tell me, sir, so what? So what? If return filing requirement is there, so what? I'll tell you, so what? I'll be opening another section. I'll tell you, so what? Yes.
Yeah, I think the assessee will come to know the reason why the assessing officer is, doing the reassessment or scrutiny assessment. So he can, when he is going to file the revised return, when he is going to file the return under section 139, he can include or he can explain about that income, what the income tax officer, the tax assessing officer has got doubt about.
Yes, but so what? How can it, how are you saying that with this explanation you will be required to issue notice under section 143(2)? how does your explanation come to a conclusion that you will be required to issue a notice under section 143(2)?
Yeah, it should not be a beat around the bush. It should be straightforward.
No. What is the logic? Why are we forcing 143(2) on you? When 148 is there for issuing a notice under reassessment, why are we forcing? Why are we saying no? You issue a notice under 143(2) as well. Why? Why this
Sir,
imposition?
the same thing, sir. Same thing, sir. Under 148, the income tax officer is giving you is not giving any reason to you, but he is asking you to file a new return.
Yes.
As under 139.
Yes.
Under 139(1).
Yes.
So you would have already filed one, and the assessing officer has got some doubt under 143. So when he is doing some scrutiny assessment, he has come to know that something is, or he is guessing that something is wrong. So in order to explain that part of the income or what the assessing officer is
requiring.
Requiring.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
Okay, great. Let's read section 143(2). Yes, Moshmi. You want to
Sir,
make a try?
assessing officer. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Assessing officer is thinking if he issues the notice under scrutiny assessment 143 subsection 2,
Yes.
the assessee might be declaring the income voluntarily.
Yes, he will declare the income voluntarily. So what? Why 143(2) should be issued? 148 also,
Sir.
in under 148 also the income can be declared voluntarily. Why not 148? Why 143(2)? Question is, 148 is there for reassessment. Notice can be issued in 148. Then why 143(2)? Why do you want assessing officer to issue 2 notices to you? Why the law is requiring assessing officer to issue 2 notices? That is the question. Okay, let's read section 143 subsection 2. The section is open in front of you. Please read the opening lines and you will be absolutely clear. Where a return has been furnished under section 139. Please don't read further. Please don't read further. 143(2) is triggered as soon as return under section 139 is filed. Repeat. 143(2) is triggered as soon as return under section 139 is filed. So irrespective of the fact that return is being filed under section 148, soon as return is filed under section 139, AO is mandatorily required to issue a notice under section 143(2) for any proceedings which it will carry on. Let's read the complete subsection. Where a return has been filed under section 139 or in response to notice under section 142(1), the assessing officer or the prescribed income tax authority, as the case may be, if it considers necessary and expedient to ensure that assessee has not understated his income or has not computed excessive loss or has not underpaid the tax in any manner, shall serve on the assessee a notice requiring him to do whatever, produce before the AO any evidence that assessee may rely in support of the return. Please note the word shall. So this is the reason why even when 148 notice is being issued, 143 notice is again required, because 148 has required or has given an opportunity to the assessee to file its return of income under section 139 again. Assessee would have filed it at the first occasion, the original return would have been filed. But again, the return of income is required to be filed. If return of income is again required to be filed, 143 notice is again required to be given by the assessing officer, because the section uses the word shall serve on the assessee a notice under section 143(2). So this is how 148 gets connected with 143(2). There is a connection between 148 and 143(2). So after 148 notice is issued, although a 148 notice can serve all the purposes of requiring all the information which the assessing officer wants, this will happen, but still the assessing officer is required to issue another 143.2 because law says whenever 139 return is required to be filed by the assessee, the assessing officer shall serve 143.2 notice. This is the link between 148 and 143.2. Now do you get the logic? Do you get the linkage why we are again requiring the assessing officer to issue notice under section 143.2? Do you get the linkage between section 148 and 143.2? Do you understand?
Sir, now I got confused in section 148, sir.
I'll open 148 simultaneously on the screen so that you read that section as well as this section. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes. Just give me a second. Do you sometimes feel that direct tax should have been one subject in the entire group 3? Do you sometimes feel that?
Sir, not for at least for 200 marks, sir, two subjects.
At least for 200 marks, yes, I agree. It should have been at least for 200 marks, this subject should have been there. Okay, so I've opened section 148. Let's read section 148 once again.
Or an open book examinations.
Yes, open book examination is a good idea. Okay, this is section 148. Now let's read what 148 issue of notice section says. Before making any assessment, reassessment under section 147 and subject to provisions of 148, the assessing officer shall serve upon the assessee a notice along with copy of order if required under section 148A, requiring him to furnish, now comes the important part, requires him to furnish a return of income of him or any other person in respect of his in respect of which he is assessable under this act. So 148 section does a mischief. What mischief does it does? 148 section gives an opportunity to the assessee to again file its return of income under section 139. This is the mischief which is done by section 148. It again gives an opportunity to the assessee to file a return of income under section 139, and that return will be treated as return filed under section 139. Okay, you got it? Everyone got it? Any question in section 148? Any question in section 148? Did you get section 148? So I'll move on to 143.2. Do you get
Yes,
the
sir.
provision? Provision is that if scrutiny, if reassessment happens, then the first step is give an opportunity to the assessee to file its return of income under 139 again. Now you will say, sir, time would have lapsed for filing return under section 139. So what? 148 will regularize that time. 148 will give you additional time. Don't worry. Even if time is lapsed, don't worry. 148 will give you additional time. No problem at all. So 148 gives you additional time to file return again. Sir, what if I am an honest taxpayer and my original return is there is no change in my original return? Then you can very well file the same return and tell the assessing officer there is no change in income. I am filing the same return. There is no difference which I think will be there in my original return versus my current return. I am filing the original return. So you can tell the assessing officer I am filing the original return. You please scrutinize me on the basis of original return itself. This can be a situation. Situation number 2, you can say, oh, I missed disclosing this income, so I am adding this income also in my income, and now this, please treat this as my income under section 139. You can do that also. But the moot point is that 139 is re-triggered, is reinitiated. 139 which had lapsed long back, 139 whose timeline is finished long back, that is reinitiated. That is the moot point under section 148. And now coming on to 143.2. Soon as 139 is reinitiated, soon as 139 section is reinitiated, my 143 section comes into play. 139 section comes into play. Soon as 139 section comes into play, 143.2 is triggered. Let's read 132. 143(2). 143 subsection 2 is in front of you. Please read it. Where a return has been furnished under section 139. So in all the situations where return has been furnished under section 139, now you please answer me whether the section 148 return has been furnished under section 139. Should we treat that return as return filed under section 139? Should we treat that? The return which has been filed under section 148, should we treat that income as return filed under section 139? Answer me,
Yes,
yes
sir.
or no? Yes,
Yes,
why?
sir.
Why?
Because the assessee gets another chance.
No, but because section itself says, 148 section says, it will be considered as return filed under section 139. Section 148 itself says this thing. So, the return which is filed under section 139, that is deemed to be a return filed under section 139. And if a return is filed under section 139, then what will happen? The assessing officer has to mandatorily issue. Assessing officer has to mandatorily issue. Section is lost. The notice under section 143(2). Let me open the section again. Yes. Okay, 143. This is section 143, assessment, scrutiny assessment. 143(1). I move on to 143(2). 143(2) says, where a return has been furnished under section 139, the assessing officer, if he considers necessary and expedient, that the assessee has not computed excessive loss, shall serve on the assessee notice requiring him to do these things. So whenever a return of income is furnished under 139, 143(2) has to be issued. That is why dual notices are to be issued for reassessment. 148 notice is to be issued, 143(2) notice is to be issued. Because why 143(2) notice? Because it is the case of fresh return being filed. Now do you get the logic? Please, do you get the logic? Yes, in the examination you need not explain this entire logic, but do you get the logic? Do you get the linkage between 148 and 143(2)? And if there is any question, please ask me. Please ask me if there is any question. Moshmi, do you get the logic? It scares me whenever all of you
Yes,
are
sir.
silent. Pakka?
Yes, sir.
Prakhar?
Yes, sir.
Prakhar? Do you get the logic? I think Prakhar has connected himself, but he is sleeping. Prakhar? Prakhar? Sachin? Sachin, do you get the logic? Subha Krishna, do you get the logic?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I got the logic.
Whenever you file a return under section, against the 148 notice, it becomes a return under section 139.
Perfect.
So, so as per the process, you will have to, the assessing officer has to follow 142 notice. 143.
Perfect answer.
Thank
This is why procedurally we have to issue 2 notices in case of reassessment. Otherwise, there is no need to issue 2 notices. 1 notice is more than enough for 1 assessment. Ideally this should be the situation, but due to this intermingling of sections, due to these sections being overlapped in a manner in which they are written as of now, the assessee has to ask for 2 notices. Assessee first notice 148 notice, second notice 143(2) notice. That is why in reassessment 143 notice 2 notice is mandatorily required to be issued under reassessment also.